apparently until you have sex with the next guy, you're not divorced
I just
anyway.
think that's bull. I'm sorry. I mean, I think that's dogmatic. Like, I'm like, whatever. That's a dogma I used to hear.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, okay, whatever.
Robyn said, in the church we used to belong to, they teach that you're not divorced until you basically have sex with the next guy. Skip it all, go have sex with somebody, then that marriage is over.
But when Robyn met Kody, she said she was divorced. So was she intimate with Kody or another guy before Kody married her? I always thought it was hilarious that Robyn tried to tell Christine what the church says when she's the granddaughter of one of the founders of the AUB. Robyn did it again, didn't she? Did everyone catch the golden moment when Mrs. Kody Brown herself decided to lecture everyone on how the other wives are too focused on children who don't live at home? I had to rewind it twice just to make sure I didn't mishear. Her kids are still at home, mind you, and she thinks the attention should be on the ones that are. Really, can she sink any lower? Let's not forget how Christine and Janelle spent most of coronavirus either in Salt Lake or North Carolina. Why? Because their wonderful husband Kody chose to ride out the pandemic with his favorite wife, Robyn. Meanwhile, none of them were welcome in Kody's home. And don't even get me started on the OG-13. They were also left out in the cold. Oh, and then Robyn goes ahead and calls her household the main family. Sure, Robyn, sure. To be fair, she's so concerned about the kids living in her house, though I don't recall hearing her express much care for Truly or Savannah. Honestly, I have to admit, I can't help but wonder if Robyn truly understands what it means to let go of your kids. I, too, will worry when my kids leave home, just like the OG3 did. But I'll let them go. One of us will, because it's healthy and necessary. And unlike her, I don't intend to cling to them forever out of fear. Sure, I'm afraid of heights, but I don't make my kids fear them too. And here's the kicker. I'll be the one who's concerned when my kids fly the nest. Robyn, she'll probably still be holding on to hers like they're never allowed to leave. The Kody's going to get so tired of Robyn and her kids eventually. Let's not pretend otherwise. The whole reason he's so obsessed with Robyn and her brood is because he had the perfect, dramatic comparison with his old family. When you pit them against his first 3 wives, they probably seem like a breath of fresh air, but let's be real, those first 3 wives and most of their kids? Yeah, they've pretty much stopped caring about him. The more he sees them moving on without him, the more he fuels his love for Robyn and her clan by getting all self-righteous, like, look at how awful they are. This is why I love you. But here's the twist. Nobody is giving him the validation he craves, and you know what that means. He's a raging narcissist, and when the applause stops, he'll be lost without it. Honestly, I give it time before he's bored out of his mind with Robyn and starts wondering if the grass might actually be greener elsewhere. Remember how he nitpicked his first 3 families apart and got bored of them? Yeah, he'll do the same with Robyn's crew. His entire basis for love is based on comparison, so once he realizes it's all just silence and people moving on, he'll be itching for the next fix. Guys like him? Super easy to read. It's a pattern by now, and it's only a matter of time. Now, I get where you're coming from, OP, but let's be honest, who would actually want him after all this? I see where you're going with your reasoning, but who's going to take that mess on? Sure, he might look around eventually, but who's signing up for that toxic nonsense? He's not improving, and honestly, I'd love to see Robyn's face when he gets tired of her. I'm here for that drama. It all depends on whether Robyn and her crew keep worshipping him. She's got the older girls trained to some degree, but Saul and Eri? Oh, especially Eri. That one looks like she's not about to let anyone tell her how to act. It's a waiting game, really. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. What did I just watch? The baptism? Seriously, all the fake crying was a mess. It felt like they were acting out how they thought this conversation was supposed to look for the cameras, not a real, heartfelt moment between the 3 of them. Maybe forced is the right word here. So Kody's standing there, doing dishes, and then Robyn walks in. Then, out of nowhere, Aurora pops in, all wide-eyed like, OMG, I'm so glad you're both here. As if this wasn't scripted and the camera crew wasn't just waiting for Kody to rinse a few dishes. Please, come on. Kody's hunched over the sink, looking completely drained, like he's never seen a dish before. Let's be real, Aurora and Brianna are probably the ones who do the dishes every day, and Kody is just filling in for a moment. And honestly, I'm totally confused here. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up religious, but wasn't Robyn already baptized? She keeps talking about promising herself to God. But isn't that what baptism is for in the first place? The whole thing just didn't add up. Religion versus God? Someone help me understand what they're going for here. Kody Brown, the infamous legend we all love to hate. Well, today's the day we finally hold Kody Brown accountable for the legendary disaster that is his life. If there was an award for America's most hated man, I'm pretty sure Kody would have a permanent spot on the trophy. Let's recap, shall we? Not only did he ditch 3 wives he was with for over 25 years, but he also bailed on his kids. And in true Kody fashion, he didn't just leave, he replaced them. But hey, no worries. I've got a list of all his greatest hits to remind him and Robyn, since they're clearly rewriting history, of just how infamously famous he really is. So here we go, Kody Brown. A list of things that make you infamous, not famous. The love confession. Remember when Kody casually told America he was never in love with any of his first 3 wives? Oh, and he seemed super proud of it too. That's right, he's really out here bragging about how he never actually loved the women he married. Talk about a great guy. The family pod heist. Kody took all the family money and used it to buy whatever benefits him and his super shy and quiet wife. Classy move, right? Degrading remarks for the win. Kody's a master of cutting insults. His wives are panting for his attention. His sons just want to get their pencils wet. And Meri? Well, she's apparently got to ditch those bitches. Oh, and accusing Christine of going on a vacation for Isabel's surgery. Pure gold. Gaslighting at its finest. Don't forget when Kody accused Isabel of not wanting to go on her surgery trip, and then turned around and told her not to become a bitter housewife. Because that was the right thing to say. The kids who aren't his favorite, he never calls the kids his kids, just Christine's and Janelle's. Because nothing says family like making it clear who's not in the club. The coronavirus saga. Kody lied about his strict coronavirus rules, used them as an excuse to stay with Robyn, and then had the audacity to fight with his kids for calling Robyn to see if they could visit him. Oh, and the fact that he can't stand his sons having minds of their own. Yeah, that's a real family bonding moment right there. A lost son and still no amends. He lost a son in the worst way possible and still hasn't bothered to try and mend his relationship with his remaining kids. But hey, who needs to reconcile when you've got a shiny new favorite, right? Daddy's approval needed. He's got favorites, and shocker, he can't juggle his relationships. Looks like his dad was right when he said Kody wasn't cut out for this polygamy thing. Nice job, Kody. Love with conditions. Kody made Meri hang on for 10 years because he needed her money. He could have let her stay in Vegas, but nah, why would he do that when he can just string her along for the cash and never repay her? Robyn's puppet. Kody is essentially Robyn's personal puppet. She speaks for him, makes all the decisions, and he just goes along with it. Meanwhile, he plays favorites with her kids while neglecting his own. But hey, as long as Robyn's happy, right? Can't handle criticism. Kody can call out everyone around him, his wives, his kids, even the mothers of his children. But the second someone criticizes him, full-on meltdown mode. Classic. Contradictions galore. Kody's a walking contradiction. 1 minute he says one thing, the next minute he's spitting out something completely different. But don't worry, he's too busy talking nonsense to even notice. So there you have it, folks. Kody Brown, the man, the myth, the walking red flag. If anyone has more gems to add to this list, feel free to chime in. It's time for Kody to finally face the consequences of his fame. Robyn's hypocrisy is on full display. On camera, she's all about plural marriage, claiming she wants Kody to fix things with Janelle, and that she's still holding on to hope that Janelle will build on Coyote Pass. But then Kody casually drops that he doesn't feel he needs any spiritual releases from Janelle or Christine, yet Robyn is the one insisting he get them. Oh, and don't forget, she's also not interested in being sealed to Kody if he's sealed to anyone else. So she's out here talking about wanting plural marriage while secretly working to end every other relationship Kody has. Classic contradiction. And then there's Robyn, telling everyone they should focus on their own marriages and keep her name out of their mouths. Really? The same woman pushing for legal and spiritual divorces for the others, yet somehow claiming they're interfering in her business. Hypocrite of the highest order. Honestly, it would be amazing if production just put together a montage of all the contradictions and lies from the 5 adults. Watching this mental circus is like a never-ending show where everyone's constantly tripping over their own words. It's exhausting, but fascinating. Sister Wives has truly turned me into a person I don't even recognize. I watch a bunch of reality shows, but this one has made me seethe with anger. I find myself frantically skipping every time Robyn or Kody open their mouths. I'm usually pretty chill when it comes to opposing opinions, but there's just so much about these two that's unbearable. Does Crybro have any clue just how universally despised she is? And as for Kody, honestly, I don't even know what to call him anymore. Here's the thing, politics have made me bitter too. The last decade of watching toxic forces operate without any accountability has done a number on my soul. So now I get to take out my rage on Kody and Robyn with their ridiculous, obnoxious, self-centered nonsense. It's like hitting a punching bag at the gym. It's my unhealthy way of venting. And of course, it's in moments like these that I realize just how deep my anger runs and why it sticks with me, especially as everything around me seems to be spiraling out of control in the real world. Sister Wives needs a makeover. And I'm done watching Kody and Robyn cash in on being absolute train wrecks. It's time for the OG3 to rise up and create a new show called X Sister Wives in their new lives, or something snappier, but you get the gist. The focus would be on the original 3 wives and their kids who want to join in. Let's get a full-on spotlight on these women, showing off their happy, successful lives post-Kody chaos. They've earned it after everything those two have put them through. Kody and Robyn can sit back and watch while the ex-wives rake in the cash for a change. As for Kody and Robyn, it's time they got real jobs. I mean, they've proven they're terrible with money. So maybe a little less in their bank accounts would teach them the value of $1. Maybe even give Robyn a reason to crack a smile for once. Plus, let's be honest, I'm sure the longtime fans would love to see what the kids are up to now, alongside their moms. Every reality show needs a villain, right? Sister Wives has been running for 13 years, and let's face it, Kody and Robyn have always been the worst. Most of us saw Robyn's true colors from the very first season, so why pretend things need to change now? I'm all for watching the ex-wives thrive while Kody and Robyn look completely miserable in the background. It's oddly satisfying, and honestly, I think the fans agree. When the question about shots came up, Robyn pulled a classic dodge. Everyone else around the table chimed in with the usual "No, I've never had a shot." But Robyn? She couldn't resist throwing in a laugh and saying, "I've never had a shot at a bar." Nice try, Robyn, but we all saw right through that. Definitely a deliberate sidestep. I bet she's had plenty of shots with her ex. I mean, we all know Robyn's not your typical wife. She didn't grow up like the others. She had to be the free spirit in the group. Remember when Meri's child came out, and the crew had to talk to Robyn because, oh, she's got a lot of gay friends. Classic. And let's not forget she was the Diesel Jeans model, just so glamorous. She was nothing like the other 3 wives. Polygamy, not her style. Robyn. Seriously, watching her is like witnessing a slow-motion car crash. I'm rewatching the series, and it's just impossible to ignore how much of a train wreck she is. The endless tears, the constant victim complex, it's like a one-woman sob fest. And don't even get me started on her kids. You'd think they'd have learned something about emotional regulation, but nope. The older one is practically a mini Robyn, which is honestly just tragic. It's like the neurotic gene was passed down like an heirloom. Then there's Kody. Good old Kody, completely oblivious and as narcissistic as ever. But here's the real kicker. Since Robyn decided to go all in on this new monogamous life, she desperately didn't want. Remember when she was dead set against it? Her constant sobbing has magically stopped. Funny, right? The tears have practically dried up. I wonder why that is. I can't help but think they were putting on a show. I mean, imagine if they just tossed Meri's bags in the back of the car and went, ding dong, the witch is gone, let's throw a party. That would have been too real for TV, so instead, they had to play it up, pretending to be all heartbroken. Kody practically danced packing Meri up, but once they got to the B&B, he wasn't about to just say, goodbye, good riddance. No, he had to do the Oscar-worthy Meri, it's been a good run speech. Nice try, Kody. Pretty sure you won't be taking home any awards for that cringeworthy performance. But hey, one down, one more to go, right? The Brown family breakdown. A slow, painful death by 1,000 cuts. But really, which ones were the most exquisite? Here's my list of the most iconic breakdown moments. Robyn's extended honeymoon, because nothing says solid foundation like dragging your new wife away from reality for an endless vacation, while everyone else is left holding the emotional baggage. Oh, and that dress? A chef's kiss on the downhill slide. Meri's attempted affair, followed by a masterclass in not taking accountability. Bonus points for the whole I'm not the problem vibe. The ultimate family fund fail. Funding the sister wives' closet, priorities, right? But not the bin-bee or the gym. That'll build real unity. Coronavirus stress. Because, of course, a pandemic was the thing that really tested their bond. What with all the we're all one big happy family vibes fading to chaos. Janelle and Kody's legendary factual fight. I'm sure that was just so healthy for the family dynamic, right? Nothing says love like a public meltdown. Let's not forget the fun of living separately, both in Vegas and Flagstaff. A great way to really cement that feeling of being one big united family, right? Kody's special treatment of the boys versus the girls. Let's talk about how he's closer to his sons, especially Maddie, his clear favorite. Yet somehow, he wasn't exactly rallying around Mykelti and Tony's wedding. Ignored Truly's illness while Christine was away, and, oh yeah, skipped out on Isabel's surgery. But hey, let's not forget the bond he shares with the boys. Totally normal, right? Speaking of favoritism, let's talk territory. When they were living in Lee, Christine had 3 bedrooms, Meri had 3 bedrooms, and somehow, Meri decided her 3rd room was better used for sewing rather than, giving one of Christine's kids a place to sleep. But sure, let's all act like we're just one big happy unit, except when we're not. Oh, and who can forget the cherry on top? Kody's midlife crisis affair, which culminated in marrying his affair partner while his wife was pregnant to secure a reality TV show. That's some next-level commitment to the family, right? To community property, the concept that for some reason seems to baffle a lot of people, especially when it comes to understanding how ownership works in a marriage. I'm no lawyer, but as I see it, when it comes to resources acquired after the vows, both spouses are generally considered owners, Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Now, let's talk about the traditional setup: a breadwinning husband and a stay-at-home mom. In that scenario, the wife is entitled to half of her husband's earnings. Why? Because she's holding down the fort at home, making it possible for him to go off to work without a care in the world. If she didn't exist, he'd either have to juggle parenting with his job, or hire a whole team of people to do the things she does: housekeepers, nannies, cooks, you name it. So yeah, she's earned her cut. Things get a little murkier when both parties are bringing in paychecks and splitting chores. Still though, two people who are genuinely in love and committed to each other, hello marriage, would probably consider themselves equal partners, even if one makes more money than the other. But wait, throw in multiple partners, and yeah, that's where things get really fuzzy. And this is all to say, Kody's claim that he alone paid for everything during his marriage to one woman legally, and 3 women in his own little world, is not just simplistic, it's downright selfish. To argue that it's all his money and none of theirs. Please, community property laws exist to keep people like Kody in check. People who think their earnings are solely for their benefit, typically because they're self-absorbed and, frankly, often misogynistic. That his money was supposed to support his entire family. Whether it's in his name or not, it always belonged to all of them. Kody's refusal to move forward with Coyote Pass, classic Kody move. He doesn't want to deal with it at all. His whole thing is to avoid anything that might risk him and Robyn not getting another season of the show, so they can keep milking that paycheck. Coyote Pass is the last shred of a connection to his ex-wives, and the second that property is sold, they're out of his life, and the audience is right behind them. He knows there's zero interest in watching him and Robyn raise their adult daughters, who act like toddlers, by the way, so what's his next genius move? Just refuse to sell the land and lock up all the money, because, of course, this is all about him making sure that nobody else can profit. It's textbook financial manipulation at its finest. Robyn's obsession with polygamy is honestly baffling. You'd think after the glorious success of that lifestyle, she'd be over it by now, well, except for that tiny little detail about needing the income. But no, in the tell-all, there she is again, asking Kody about expanding the family. My theory? She's terrified of being a monogamist wife. All she's ever known is the "don't worry about the little details, just focus on us when we're together" nonsense she used to say. Newsflash, that doesn't exactly fly in monogamy, so now she's panicking that she'll lose her special status. Also, let's be real, they're probably just toying with the idea of adding more sister wives for another season or a spin-off. I mean, who needs real drama when you can just milk the same tired plot? Being the number one wife doesn't hold quite the same shine when you're the only wife. I guess the perks of playing the role of the jealous, undermining spouse aren't as fun when there's no one to compete with. Imagine the poor thing just bored, like what's she supposed to do now? But honestly, it's kind of like being married for most of us. We've got a life partner, sure, but we don't make it our entire identity. Robyn, though, she's still clinging to the sister-wife persona, like it's her only shot at relevance. No one thinks she's some polygamy expert, unless you count her as a cautionary tale, and surprise, surprise, nobody cares that she's a wife. It's not like she's the first lady or a princess. And let's not forget her little mom clout. She's still trying to make her 23-year-old, still living at home daughter sing her praises for bringing tongs to a cookout. We're so lucky to learn from you. She's also eagerly anticipating being a grandma, but, I mean, no one else is exactly putting in an order for that role. It's only special to her. Just a little sad, really. Does Robyn actually know she's lying, or does she genuinely believe the nonsense that comes out of her mouth? I'm honestly wondering if she's fully aware of how completely off-base her statements are, especially when they're the exact opposite of what's been documented on the show. Take, for example, her earlier comment about never pushing a specific religion on her kids. She finds it weird when other people do it, right? But let's not forget, during their Vegas days, she was absolutely livid when the kids talked about attending youth group at other churches. That's some selective memory, if I've ever seen it. Then, in this week's episode, she claimed she never kept track of where Kody was while they lived in Vegas, and that she was perfectly fine with him coming and going as he pleased. That's a straight-up lie, because we've seen her do the exact opposite on camera. Remember when she told Meri, or someone else, that she actually did keep tabs on Kody's whereabouts, and that she noticed he was playing favorites with his time? Or that one earlier season where she openly admitted she hated being apart from him and got sad when he was gone for too long? I mean, seriously, does she think we've all forgotten about 15 years of footage? It's honestly baffling. Does Robyn forget she's been filmed this whole time? Does she really think she's telling the truth? Or is this just some warped form of self-deception? Because here's the thing, she's clearly not a reliable narrator. But it's one thing to be biased, and another to flat out deny reality in the face of all this footage. And no one is calling her out. Not in the tell-all, not anywhere. Does she honestly think she's pulling this off without anyone noticing? Maybe she's convinced herself that she's justified in these contradictions, assuming her special circumstances make it all okay. Like, she didn't worry about where Kody was unless she really needed him, which was, let's be honest, often. And she's not really pushing a religion on her kids. She's just kindly warning them about the impending doom of Mormon's super hell if they don't shape up. Maybe, in her mind, everything she says feels true, but we can all see through it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.